Introduction: The Illusion of 24 Hours. How much time did you feel you lost by the end of today? The clocks of modern civilization still measure the exact same 24 hours with mechanical precision, second by second, yet your subconscious and biological system tell a completely different story. A truth that shows days and months are passing much faster than in the past. This experience is not a simple mental error, a personal psychological issue, or an individual illusion. We are facing a widespread global phenomenon that billions of people across this planet, regardless of geographic borders, racial differences, economic classes, or religious beliefs, are now feeling with their entire being. Why is it that as civilization moves forward, our perception of the length of a day becomes shorter? Has an unknown transformation occurred in the physics and astronomical structure of the universe? Or has the human brain suffered a deep computational error within the gears of 21st century data processing? Why is modern man always running but never finishing his tasks? In this book, without any judgment, bias, prejudice, or imposition of personal thoughts, we will examine this great secret as an objective researcher. Relying on scientific facts, geophysical records, modern psychology, and the objective comparison of ancient eschatological texts, we look for an answer that, instead of cliché responses, is rooted in field realities. To understand this great transformation, we must cross the boundaries of our traditional understanding. Book title: Time Acceleration and the Collapse of Focus. Why Days Pass Faster Than Ever Before. Author: Vahid Zekavati. Copyright: VMZ Production. Section 1. Information Bombardment and Attention Engineering. The average attention span of modern humans has now dropped to less than 8 seconds, a shocking number that, according to official reports from Microsoft and studies in the scientific journal Nature Human Behavior, is even less than the short-term memory of a goldfish. This alarming statistic is the first and greatest biological shock to the human nervous system in all of history, and it is exactly where the secret of our accelerating days is hidden. A human being in the 21st century, in just one day, monitors, processes, and digests a volume of data equivalent to the total information a person in the 18th century received in their entire lifetime. When your nervous system and cerebral cortex are bombarded every minute with dozens of text messages, colorful notifications, short videos on TikTok and Instagram, breaking news of wars and crises, and continuous images on social networks, the brain is forced to significantly increase its internal processing speed to survive and prevent information overload and mental explosion. This internal and hidden acceleration completely redesigns your rhythm of environmental perception. To understand this cognitive disaster, we must know that from the perspective of cognitive psychology and neuroscience, the human brain does not measure linear time based on a wristwatch, but calculates and reconstructs it based on the number of distinct, unique, deep, and high-quality memories registered in the long-term memory. In today's online and digital life, individuals stare at screens for hours during the day, scrolling through very similar, superficial, fleeting information that lacks emotional depth. Because this digital data lacks a deep experiential link with the texture of the real world and carries no tangible sensations like environmental scent, physical movement, or genuine emotional interaction, it is not stored as a unique memory in the long-term memory. At the end of the day, when reviewing the past, your mind faces a huge void. This massive but empty volume of digital information in the memory is packaged by the brain as a single, highly compressed block. Consequently, when you look at the clock at the end of the night, even though you have been busy all day, you feel that your day passed in the blink of an eye, and before the morning truly unfolds, the absolute darkness of night has arrived. This is exactly the mechanism we call the loss of the quality and blessing of time. This structural and social phenomenon is exactly what the prominent German sociologist and philosopher, Hartmut Rosa, proves with field, industrial, and economic statistics in his famous theory in the book Social Acceleration, a new theory of modernity. He reveals in this book that modern communication and transportation technologies, contrary to their initial promise in the modern era to save free time and create more welfare for humans, have actually multiplied the speed of social expectations, tasks, works, and commitments. Because tasks are performed much faster today with the internet, artificial intelligence, and smart tools, economic systems and society expect the individual to produce several times more output and efficiency in an identical and limited time frame. This intense and hidden structural pressure causes modern humans to always live in a state of automatic pilot and chronic stress caused by a lack of time. In human psychological physics and biology, the more hidden stress increases and focus on multiple tasks without actual presence in the current moment grows, the shorter and faster the biological perception of the length of time becomes. Modern application design systems and attention engineering and global technology giants are developed using advanced algorithms to keep your mind in an endless loop of information consumption and scrolling by releasing small, continuous rewards of dopamine in the brain. This cycle completely deprives humanity of the opportunity for reflection, stillness, deep thinking, and the natural understanding of the cycles of night and day. Today, we are facing a completely documented and unprecedented cognitive transformation in which the speed of digital processors and social network servers has affected our body's biological rhythm and our understanding of created reality. This is an objective and fully tangible field truth that any individual in today's world, without needing expertise, can understand by simply checking their daily screen time and comparing it with the amount of deep work done in the real world. Modern acceleration has turned time into a compressed, fleeting, and rushing commodity in the human mind, and this phenomenon is the first layer of a chain of major changes occurring in all dimensions of this planet, leading minds toward much deeper questions. Section 2. Eschatological Acceleration and Ancient Traditions. Ancient texts and sacred eschatological scriptures across the globe, thousands of years before digital technology redesigned the architecture of the human mind, recorded a common and surprising prediction. In the final era of civilization, the rhythm of time would experience a diabolical contraction and acceleration. This strange convergence among various intellectual traditions, free from any personal judgment or prejudice, provides a deep ground for reflection and research as a written historical fact. The phenomenon that modern psychology attributes to the erosion of attention has been introduced in the historical memory of humanity as the main sign of the transformation of the world structure on the verge of a great change. Among all schools of thought, Islamic texts and narrations offer the most explicit and precise qualitative description of this phenomenon. In authoritative narrative sources, this phenomenon is formulated under the structural title of Taqarrub al-Zaman, the convergence of time, or Tisru al-Zaman, the acceleration of time. In the authoritative book of narrations, Sahih al-Bukhari, Volume 9, a phenomenon is reported that directly matches the lived experience of modern humans. In this narration, it is explicitly stated that the final hour of civilization will not arrive unless time approaches and becomes compressed in such a way that a year passes like a month like a week like a day, and a day like an hour. Structuralist commentators and researchers consider these ancient codes not as a magical transformation in the planet's rotation speed, but as a stunning prediction of the decline of the qualitative blessing of time and the compression of human perception in the era of communication saturation. This analysis is fully aligned with historical principles, showing how a change in life tools alters human sensory perception of the phenomena of creation. On the other hand, in Christian eschatology and within the text of the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 22, there is a strategic phrase that directly refers to the issue of changing the rhythm of days. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. In modern theological interpretations, this verse, in addition to meaning a reduction in the number of crisis days, is interpreted as a description of the compression of events and the acceleration of history on the verge of a major transformation. This linear view of history is also expressed with cosmic language in ancient non-Abrahamic traditions. For example, in Hindu cosmology and based on the teachings contained in the sacred book Vishnu Purana, the cosmic cycles of the world are divided into four major eras, the last and darkest of which is called Kali Yuga, or the Age of Degradation. In this ancient text, facts are explicitly mentioned showing that in this final period, the order of seasons, astronomical cycles, and even the biology of the human body suffer a type of acceleration and qualitative contraction. Lifespans become short and time loses its natural blessing and stability, so that humans, without realizing it, spend the major cycles of life with an imperceptible acceleration amidst superficial material concerns until civilization reaches the point of collapse and final cosmic reconstruction. This phenomenon is also observed with local and field details in the mythology and Pahlavi literature of the Zoroastrian religion. In ancient texts such as the Bundahishan and the Book of Prophecies Jamasnami, when describing the final period of the world and the years preceding the appearance of the Savior, Sashant, disruption in the order of the sun and natural cycles is mentioned. These texts state that due to the invasion of chaos into the structure of the universe, days and nights lose their calm and stable rhythm and pass with an unusual speed. Earth and sky will not have the former harmony. And this acceleration of time is considered an objective warning for the awakening of the human subconscious. Even in the esoteric traditions and mysticism of Judaism, the school of Kabbalah, especially in the interpretations related to the historical book Zohar, the mysterious concept of Kefetzat Haderek is raised, which means a leap, a sudden passing, or an unusual compression of time and space. This text states that on the eve of the era of the Messiah's appearance, the rigid and natural structure of time suffers a kind of flexibility and contraction so that civilizational events approach their ultimate destination with a speed beyond imagination. The unprecedented convergence of this volume of ancient and religious text from completely different cultures, continents, and eras on a single sign, namely the acceleration and compression of time, is not something an investigator can easily ignore. These historical narratives, without wanting to impose a belief on the audience, provide a documented fact from the shared memory of humanity. These texts prove that humans, from thousands of years ago, linked the final point of civilization with the loss of the peace of time and the acceleration of days, a phenomenon that today we touch with our entire being, not in old handwritten books, but in the context of daily realities, wristwatches, and wall calendars of our homes. Section 3. Earth's biorhythm and physical realities. Is it possible that besides the structure of our minds and psychological processing, the Earth and the physical environment of the universe are also partners in this headlong acceleration? To scientifically investigate this possibility, we must move past superficial assumptions and look at precise geophysical data and statistics recorded in international monitoring centers. One of the most controversial and yet exhausting discussions in Earth physics is the phenomenon of Schumann resonances. This phenomenon, which is simply known as the heartbeat or bass vibration of the planet Earth, includes a set of global electromagnetic waves existing in the hollow space between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere layer of the atmosphere. This frequency has traditionally, since its discovery by Winfried Schumann in the 1950s, always been measured at the constant number of 7.83 Hz. However, in recent years, data published by authoritative global geophysical monitoring centers, including the Tomsk Space Monitoring System in Russia, have recorded unprecedented and sudden fluctuations, jumps, and anomalies in these charts, sometimes raising this vibration above 30 or even 40 Hz. Although classical physicists and the mainstream of science believe that these frequency jumps are entirely due to solar storms, climate change, and atmospheric electrical activity, and have no effect on the physical length of the day, astronomical time, scientists in the field of biology and neurology point to different facts. Research has proven that human brainwaves, especially alpha and theta waves that are responsible for creating a state of relaxation, learning, and deep understanding, oscillate exactly in the same range as the base frequency of the Earth, between 7 and 8 Hz. The alteration, fluctuation, and disruption of this environmental frequency base directly disrupt and mismatch the biorhythm, biological clock, and nervous system of humans. When the internal and biological clock of your body is not coordinated with the linear and mechanical time of the world, the defense mechanism of the mind undergoes a transformation in perception, the direct result of which is the feeling of a false acceleration and speed of the surrounding environment. Alongside these geophysical facts, examining the economic, statistical, and field facts of modern civilization also clearly confirms this physical acceleration. According to official statistics from the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, and global transport organizations, the physical movement speed of humans, goods, and services in the current century has had a planetary and incredible growth compared to 50 years ago, showing over a 300% increase. This increase in physical speed in the real world, when combined with the unimaginable speed of data transfer and fiber optic networks, puts the entire organism of the human body in a state of constant alertness and alert, fight, or flight. The endocrine glands of the body, in the face of this volume of high-speed stimuli, secrete hormones related to the stress response. In psychological physics, when an organism is in a state of pressure and continuous monitoring of environmental dangers or stimuli, the time perception mechanism in the prefrontal cortex of the brain contracts so that the individual can decide faster. In fact, we are facing a major transformation in the electromagnetic and kinetic ecosystem of the planet that has directly affected our nervous structure. Modern humans are struggling in the midst of a new magnetic and structural field, an objective current that guides all his physical and biological dimensions toward a point of final compression. This change in rhythm is not an illusion, but a fact that from the frequencies of the Earth to the speed of airplanes and our brain secretions, all testify to its existence with definitive documents. These gears are turning faster than in the past, forcing humans to face a big question. How far can this acceleration continue? Conclusion: returning to the self. The phenomenon of time acceleration, whether it is a biological and cognitive transformation caused by information bombardment, the fulfillment of eschatological predictions of ancient texts in various religions, or the result of frequency and electromagnetic changes of the Earth, has a single, definitive, and unambiguous message from modern humans: an urgent and vital need to rethink the way of living. Field realities and scientific statistics mentioned in various sections of this book clearly show that the structure of modern civilization is designed in such a way that humans do not have the opportunity for reflection, deep understanding, and high-quality experience of the moments of day and night. This work, relying on official documents, and without any judgment or value bias, only placed a mirror before your daily reality so that the hidden dimensions of this global crisis are revealed. The answer to this global challenge, contrary to public perception, lies in the hands of humans themselves and a transformation in their behavioral patterns. Creating intentional and regular distances from the endless stream of digital data, returning to the natural rhythms of life, and understanding the value of silence and solitude are objective paths suggested by researchers of cognitive psychology and neuroscience to restore the quality of time and repair long-term memory. When a person can consciously reduce the speed of processing imposed by the environment, the brain finds the opportunity to reconstruct time again with the same deep and calm quality of the past. This process has no connection with superficial slogans, but is an urgent biological need to maintain mental health amidst the gears of acceleration. Time in astronomical clocks still passes with the same constant speed, but how much actual presence we have in this transition is the main determinant of the quality, meaning, and depth of our lives. The rapid and headlong turning of calendar pages is a structural warning, an objective warning for the awakening of the human subconscious that, amidst the abundance of notifications and high-speed tools, is forgetting itself and losing the opportunity to think. Reflection on this issue and recognizing its scientific and historical roots is the first and most important step to take control of a current that carries all of humanity without permission. The choice is ours to drown in this acceleration or to reclaim our rhythm of inner peace.